Alright, so if you remember not that long ago, I said there was no way I was going to buy the D&D Gale Force 9 Spellbook cards that were for the various domains and the martial classes and the races, but I did. So I only bought them because I happened to go into my local comic shop. They had them, and the guy I know the owner pretty well, so he gave me a discount on all of them, so I got them for fairly cheap. I'm gonna warn you though, probably don't get these. I'm gonna tell you that up front, and I'll tell you why. So let's start going through. So we'll start with this. This is the Martial Powers and Races deck. This one runs around $7. If you were gonna get any of them, this would probably be my suggestion, because these gray cards, right here, there's a fair few, as you can see. These are all of the Fighter Battlemaster maneuvers. These are, if you're a fighter and you can't keep track of your maneuvers, or you got a new player wanting to play Battlemaster, or maybe multi-class 3 levels or something like that, these are the cards you want. There's a lot of maneuvers, and I'm fairly certain, you know, if you don't play all the time or on a fairly consistent basis, you will forget what your maneuvers are. This ensures that doesn't happen. A good call. Then, the next thing you have are these Bard cards, but they're totally blank. So you have enough to cover all of the magical secrets for a lore bard. This covers, you know, if you take these out, this is your regular Valor Bard. You add these two in, and this covers magical secrets for a lore bard. These are really nice. I haven't actually tried messing around with writing on them. I imagine a wet erase or a dry erase marker will work. You, again, don't have a ton of room, so you're going to have to write fairly small. But these blank cards are a cool idea. I like these. I would almost just buy a deck of just blank cards, because it kind of future-proofs. But we'll get to that. Next up, you have your Barbarian. So if you're a Barbarian and a Totem Barbarian, you get access to 3 spells. Beast Sense, Speak with Animals, and Commune with Nature. Those are all here. Again, the big overarching reason why I say not to get these is it seems like they've completely disregarded Sword Coast Adventure Guide, except in a few spots. For instance, if you took the Thunder Beast, the Tree Ghost, I believe it is, if you worship the Tree Ghost totem as a Barbarian, you have all the bear totemic attunements and things like that, except you replace Beast Sense and Speak with Animals, but with Speak with Plants. Was it really that much to include one more card for that? Especially in a new book, which is a thing a lot of people are excited about. So there's that. Then you have the racial cards. So for a drow, you have the 3 drow spells. For a high elf, you have a blank cantrip card. For the tiefling, you have Thaumaturgy, Hellish Rebuke, and Darkness. Again, my problem is in the Sword Coast Adventure Guide, one of the tiefling variants you list at the bottom of the page is the Devil's Tongue or Venom Tongue tiefling that has Vicious Mockery, Enthrall, and Charm Person, I believe. They don't get cards for those. There's also the one where you can substitute Hellish Rebuke for Burning Hands. Again, you don't get those. So that's an additional set of cards for the... spells for the Tiefling for the Sword Coast Adventure Guide you don't get. You get the Forest Gnome, Minor Illusion, Air Genasi Levitate, Earth Genasi Pass Without Trace, Fire Genasi Produce Flame Burning Hands, they get Burning Hands for the Genasi, and Shape Water and Create or Destroy Water for the Water Genasi. You don't get anything... Now, again, they kind of do this with the monk stuff, and I'll get to that in a second, but why not just give you cards for all of the racial abilities that are like unique? You did the commanders, you know, all the Battlemaster maneuvers. Why not give me a card for, say, the Goliath's Stone's Endurance, you know, where it just says Stone's Endurance, once per long rest you can roll a d12 and add your Constitution modifier to reduce the damage of a physical attack. Why not have cards for, I don't know, the deep gnomes, or a card for the telekinesis for the Ghostwise halfling. I don't know. So that's what you get in the martial powers and races. Probably the most reliable, I'll say, of this. So that's these set of cards. This is around, again, $7. You got 41 cards. Next up, we'll do Paladin Oaths. Okay. Paladin Oaths. Well, as you guys are well aware, the Sword Coast Adventure Guide released a 4th oath, the Oath of the Crown. Would you guess that it's in here in the Paladin Oaths? No, it's not. Completely missing. All those cards, not included. Other than that, you have all of the oaths for the the spells. I'm not going to go through these. These are all Player's Handbook spells for the various Devotion, Ancients, and Vengeance Paladin. Some of them are, like, Misty Step, for instance, is Ancients and Vengeance. You can see on the bottom it says Ancients. Or maybe you can get them in focus. Ancients and Vengeance. So you don't get 2 cards, like 2 Misty Steps. Personally, I would have liked that. I see why they didn't do it, but I would have liked it because this way, like, I feel like it sucks if you have, like, a table and you're the DM supplying the cards, which is typically what I do. If you have a Vengeance and Ancients Paladin, they have to share it. Which is fine, especially if you play, but like if you play on different nights with different groups and you gotta reshuffle somebody's cards so that they can use it, that's really nitpicky, and I understand, but it's a little complaint of mine. The big complaint, no Oath of the Crown spells. Cleric Domain spells. So again, you have all of the... Oh, also no Oathbreaker, by the way, in here. Cleric Domains. You have the... Here's your Cantrip for your blank card for your Nature Cleric. Then you have the 1st through 5th level spells for all of your Cleric Domains. Would you get Death Domain in here? No. Would you get Arcane Domain in here? No. Again, a brand new, full-fledged, official domain published in the Sword Coast Adventures Guide, not included. Now, you might be saying, well, I see a theme here. They're not including everything from the Sword Coast Adventures Guide. Well, so why not? Well, let me prove you wrong, because how this... Again, I'm sorry, I'm very upset, and I probably should have waited to do this review, but... So for the Arcane Archetypes, this covers all of your Arcane casters. You have 3 blank cards for your Pact of the Tome Warlock. So when you choose Pact of the Tome, you get to choose 3 cantrips. Here's why I have my problem. Booming Blade, Green Flame Blade, Lightning Lure, and Sword Burst. These are the 4 new cantrips that are available only in the Sword Coast Adventures Guide. These are 4 cantrips that they have in the Sword Coast Adventures Guide, but they don't offer them. They don't offer the Arcana Domain Cleric. They don't offer the Oath of the Crown Paladin, and included, okay, we're in the Arcane one that has the new cantrips. You have your Book of Ancient Secrets. You have 2 more cantrips here, blank cards, or 2 first level spells. Your 2 rituals that you get to start for that. Then you have certain invocations get the spell card. So this is the Bane invocation, the one that basically gives Bane for a warlock. You have Command, which is a fiend, fiend patron warlock. Dissonant Whispers, which my complaint with some of these are they don't include Burning Hands, Fireball, Scorching Ray, any of those spells, which are spells that are because the thought process being they're Arcana Domain or Arcana spells, and when you buy the Arcana spell card set, it's the entire block set for all Arcane casters. So for your Sorcerer, Wizard, and Warlock. However, they include Dissonant Whispers, which is a great old one spell. I guess it's technically a Bard spell. Never mind. Hold that thought. That's a Bard-only spell, so that explains that. But you go through, and you've got... Here's a Sorcerer Wild Magic. A couple of Sorcerer Wild Magic spells make it in here. Ones that are not available to the Arcana class. So, moral of the story is, if it's included in the larger Arcane spell block of spell cards. They do not include it here. They only are including spells that are, you know, not there. But they don't include anything to cover the Undying Patron Warlock, when earlier you include the Cantrips from the Sword Coast Adventure Guide, but you don't include the stuff from the also in the Sword Coast Adventures Guide, the stuff from the Undying Patron Warlock. So that, again, annoys me. And then lastly, we have the Monk Traditions cards, which is 19 cards for monks. So let's open up this and see what we have in here. We have Minor Illusion, which covers for your Shadow Monk. We have Burning Hands, Sanctuary, Thunderwave, Darkness, Dark Vision. It says on the bottom whether it's 4 elements or shadow, so it has all of these shadow-based cards, all of the 4 elements-based cards, and so on. And then Astral Projection, as that's a regular old monk functionality. Things I would have liked to have seen in here would have been the Sun Soul Monk, because it's basically Fireball. I mean, you can kind of get that, but like, why not give me things for Sun Soul Monk gets Burning Hands as a reaction, as a bonus action rather. Why not make a card for that? You get the Radiant Damage Fireball that you can upscale using key points. Why, like, I feel like you could just, it would have been a small step to just include those, and you'd have it. Have everything you need for the new classes. Again, my biggest complaint more than that, because that one I guess I can concede that one a little bit. My biggest complaint is, why do you go and include the cantrips that are available in the Sword Coast Adventures Guide in this box, but not give me the Arcane Domain Cleric and Oath of the Crown Paladin, which has its own set of spells that are outside of the spell grouping, and I'm sorry, the Undying Patron Warlock. I did not pick up the Druid spell cards, mostly because the Druid spell cards only cover things for the Circle of the Land Druid, and in every game I've ever played recently, I've never had anybody play Circle of the Land. At some point, I may change my mind and regret that, but at this point, that's not the case. These I thought were the coolest. Biggest winner, again, is the Martial Pack with the races and the blank cards. I also would invoke Gale Force 9. Can you just release us a deck of like 52 blank spell cards where we can just write whatever we want? Or maybe even alter them and give us ones for magic items, so that you're the DM, you can write out a magic item on a, you know, erasable card, and then give the item to the player so that they have it. I've been thinking about doing that myself on cardstock, printing them out, and then that way I don't have to explain it, they don't have to write it down, and if they want to give it to somebody else, then kind of pass the magic item around. I've seen it done before. I know how that's kind of handled at the Adventure League. But anyway, sorry guys, this was a little ranty. It's late, and it just, I said I wasn't going to spend money on this, and then I went out and did it anyway. It's kind of my own fault. But yeah, just some things really kind of just rubbed me the wrong way. And again, I still kind of have that animosity towards Gale Force 9 for the poorly created Dungeon Master screens, in my opinion. And also the fact that the first set of cards did not include Destructive Smite or Mislead. They just forgot them in the Paladin set and the Arcane set. They just forgot those cards. They included them in the Elemental Evil set, but you had to buy them to make up for it. Then they also released the version 2 of all the cards with the rounded edges, the very big C to denote that it is a concentration spell. There was no trade-in policy for that. They never released a PDF of the missing cards, so that those of us that didn't want to go out and spend money to buy more cards could just download them to get them. Just little nitpicky things. I also would say the D&D spell card app is good. It has changed a lot, and they've added ads and all these other functionalities. It used to basically be just getting these verbatim. They changed it a little bit. For like $2, I think it is, you can donate to the guy and remove the ads and make it a little bit easier, but it's still not updated to include the cantrips for the Sword Coast Adventure Guide. It has a spot for them, but you have to manually input them yourselves. But anyway, guys, actually be on the lookout for that. I'm going to do a kind of whole review of like my go-to D&D cell phone tablet apps, I've got 4 or 5 in mind that I personally like. I'd love to see what you guys think, but let me know. Did you guys pick up these? Did you think they were worth it? Would you buy more of these cards in the future for different things? Do you think I'm crazy to think to get like actual mechanical things, like maybe like a card that's like Dwarven Resilience and is all the Dwarven kind of stat boosts, or maybe have them release a Dungeon Master Guide big deck of cards that is a card per magic item in the Dungeon Master Guide to save us all time from writing them out ourselves. Then they'd also be nice on laminated cards and, you know, kind of protected from the elements and drinks and spillages and whatnot. Anyway, guys, happy gaming. I'll see you next time. Again, I apologize for the rant. I probably made this a little more serious than it had to be. See you next time.